I'm going to say GM, everyone, and GM to NFT NYC here in Europe, in London. We're absolutely amazing to see so many people to come here today and many more still to come. As I was introduced by a wonderful queen, we just had a space for Rag Radio for NFT NYC. It was a good prep for people to understand how massive this event is here today. And if there is one thing that I want you to understand about Web3, it's actually its opportunity to bring people of different culture, of different background, at one place, at one space, to share knowledge and grow together. So together here with me, I have my wonderful friends, not just people who I met some time ago, actually people with whom I'm working, people with whom I'm having drinks during free time. So I'm absolutely happy that here today in London I can share the stage with true friends, friends who are coming from different continents, different countries. I'm going to start from that side. There I have Paolo Guida from BV Ventures. He's a representative of Italy. Next, a wonderful Z lady of our panel, Paola. Don't be confused, we have Paola, we have Paola. Paola Vivoli from Speed Invest. She's based here in London. Next, I have my friend from India, Tanuj Moorjani from 2K Block Ventures. And the last minute change, we're happy to have Steve Ryan from NFTs for Freedom. If I got it right, you were just about to present before us. You're a bit late, but I mean, Web3 space is friendly, so join us. Let's have some fun here today. The topic of today's panel is actually to understand how NFTs, NFT technology can innovate, can help traditional businesses to enter the space and innovate it. Three of my friends who I named before, they're coming from VC space, meaning that they are helping traditional brands to collect these funds, traditional brands to get these funds and understand the NFT technology. And you yourself, an OG in the space, coming directly from the Web3 native space. So let's get it started. The first question I have to all of you here today is, what is this one thing that fascinates you the most around NFTs? Is it NFT ticketing? Is it NFT as a way to create your loyal community? Or what is one thing that fascinates you the most? And perhaps you can even share some examples of companies who are already using it. Paola, let's start with you.
Thank you, Nikita. So I think one thing I'm very interested about, and I think I bring a different perspective from the guys here, because what I'm interested in is mostly about the opportunities at the intersection of consumer and crypto, and is actually pretty spot on for the topic here, because how do you onboard the next 50, 100, or 200 million people into Web3 is actually via the consumer applications built on top of blockchain. So what I find very interesting is the way traditional brands can engage with the audience in new ways. And it's not about engaging with the audience in new ways, but also attracting new audiences. And in this case, if you think about the next generation and Gen Z, we're engaging with brands in many, many different ways. So in these regards, I find very interesting the concept of brand experiences. So there is also one of our portfolio companies, AdMix, now rebranded the Land Vault. They are pioneering a new way of advertising. I mean, many of you know advertising has a very negative connotation, but the way they're innovating the space is about actually giving the tools for brands, traditional brands, as well as creators to advertise in the metaverse. But it's the vision is that brand and content will become one. So enabling brands to actually create brand experiences, because what is more interesting actually than having like a new experience, engage with your audience in every new ways. So I find this topic very, very interesting.
And I mean, it's also a digital experience, meaning that regardless of your location, regardless of your background, once again, everyone can, like the cost of entry, even though it's kind of high right now, at the end of the day, it will be that low so that absolutely everyone can join it. So I appreciate saying that. Tanuj?
Hey everyone, my name's Tanuj. So I really like how NFTs are creating a bridge between the digital and the physical world, wherein you can own a digital version of your NFT, and you get a claim to the ownership of the physical counterpart of the same NFT. So really like, since we're talking about traditional brands, I really like how Nike went ahead and acquired Artifact, and how Artifact are doing that really well. If Nike tried to do that by themselves, they wouldn't have been able to merge the culture and technology that Artifact brings with them.
It's a good example, a really cultural driven one. Paolo?
Okay, thanks for having me, Nikita. First, I would say I am a person that culturally is looking for value in things, and so I hate speculation, and therefore I hate, like, some of the things that happen in the first wave when it came like to using of NFTs. So where is the real value of application of the NFTs? And also coming more from a B2B kind of angle, looking at ways in which, for example, NFTs can enhance product services, the experience, I think it's important. But I do recognize that B2C is probably where the action is going to happen. And there are sectors like, for example, sports, music, IP rights, gaming, which are definitely going to drive mass adoption in terms of the use of NFTs, and they are opening up new opportunities. When it comes to instead the physical world, I'm particularly interested in the digital twins. So how you basically can have like the digital extension of a product, and what that enables in terms of additional services, personalization, one-to-one conversation, insurability of the product. So there's a lot of that. But I think technology is a commodity, and it will become a commodity. So people need to be aware of that, and could be blockchain, could be AI. You simply replace the name, but at the end of the day, is what you can do with the technology that matters.
All right. I love all the answers that everyone has given. They've been amazing. One thing that really excites me about NFTs is the fact that it allows people to have ownership. If you think about Netflix, for example, you paid your monthly subscriptions. That's it. You pay, you keep it, you don't, you don't. But if you have an NFT, if you're part of an organization, now not only are you a part of a membership of what that organization is doing, but you also could have value. What if you own more than one NFT? Now, what if you decide to sell the second NFT for a profit? So it really, to me, it really represents, I love the word freedom, because it allows people to be empowered for more than just give the money, give the money, give the money. I personally see NFTs as a gateway to replacing how memberships are done, with different companies. So that's what I'm leaning into personally, but that's where I see it going personally.
I love it. It's basically ownership, that is data protection, that is a new way of experience in the digital sphere. Regardless of what is the best potential usage of NFTs, what is the best potential, like the future of Web3 space in general, regardless of how bright is it, we need to address one thing. And this big thing is Web 2.5. There is specific transition bridge that people are not talking about that much. You cannot just jump from this traditional experience, like me shaking your hand, to me transferring you money through my ledger or whatever, because I'm not educated enough. I'm not experienced enough. One way would be, for sure, to go the hard way, and perhaps in one or certain way, all of us need to go through this hard way, learning ourselves. But definitely, we need to address the fact that people, like general audience for mass adoption, because we're like all of us believe in Web3, in NFTs. It's our thesis that it's going to stay here in 10, 15, 20 years from now when the technology sees its peak. But before that, we need to make sure that people actually understand how to use this technology, how to interact in this new field, how to own your content. So how do you address this Web 2.5, this transition from traditional world to the digital one? Tanuj, let's start with you.
So as the world moves from Web 2 to Web 3, the transition is what we're calling the Web 2.5. The world, I feel, is not ready for Web 3 yet. So I'll just talk about some of my friends. So I have a lot of friends who come from culture, who come from fashion, And whenever I talk to them about buying an NFT, they're not comfortable doing that right now in the current state. They always tell me that, I don't want to set up a MetaMask wallet. I don't want to go through. I don't want to get hacked. So the transition that we're seeing here is the Web 2.5, where the user will actually go through the Web 2 infrastructure using the Web 3 resources. We need an entity which can provide us this infrastructure where the centralization, the good parts of centralization and the parts of decentralization are combined together. That's what we're calling Web 2.5.
And I love it because I personally believe that the peak of Web 2.0 happened with web pages like Wix, when any one of us can create his or her own web page in matters like minutes. And that's what you just mentioned. We need these platforms, we need these supporters of the space where you can come, you can create your own app, you can create your own game, your digital asset. That's how it's going to work.
I think if I can build on that, I mean, Tanuj rightly said, talked about fashion, he talked about the blending of the digital and physical worlds. And I think this is one, you mentioned Nike as well, this has been one of the most successful strategies that traditional brands have entertained as well. And I think also, first of all, a key point for traditional brands is how to remain authentic. Because I think, how many of you actually call Facebook Meta, and how many of you call Facebook Facebook? I'm one of those who actually call Facebook Facebook. So what I mean with this example is actually brands that have lost their authenticity. So I think in the transition from Web 2 to Web 3, it is very important to try and stay authentic and genuine as a brand. So I think, and again, you mentioned the blending of digital and physical worlds, and you mentioned fashion. I think someone that has done this in a very interesting way is actually Coach. So Coach, what they did for the 80th anniversary, they gave for free 80 NFTs, and you as a customer could go and redeem your NFT just by a single sign up by email on, I think it was NFT.coach.com, and then just claim your NFT. So there were only 80, and they were branded as, I think it was Coach Holiday 2021 collection. And then once you were redeeming these NFTs, were branded as this famous guy, I think it's called No Snow City, you could then claim a bag, I think it's the Rogue in Q4 2022. So right now there are people claiming their Coach bags. So why I mentioned Coach, if we think about the case study and the strategy that they did, so the first thing is the branding. So they stay true to their branding because they use the Holiday 2021 Snow City game. There were these 8 lovable characters that they use as NFTs. And then second, it was accessibility. That is probably my favorite one because people could just sign up. There was no wallet, nothing needed. Could just sign up with a simple email and redeem them NFTs. And also very interesting is both branding and accessibility. They were also only 80. So here we have the concept of scarcity as well. That is key for NFTs. So 80 NFTs given for free, again, accessibility. But everything was branded because they use a white label solution. Now I can't remember the name of the company. I will let you know. They use a white label solution to create a fully on-brand experience on their website. And it's a new way for them. I think it was the CEO of Tapestry, Joanna, who said, what we did with this strategy is starting to experiment with NFTs and starting also to understand and look at people's reactions. So how are people engaging with NFTs? What does this do for our community? What does this do to the way we increase our brand awareness, as well as attracting, as I mentioned before, a new generation of consumers? Because I think what is interesting about NFTs is actually not only what they do with traditional brands, but they open and they create new type of brands. If you think about Bored Apes, and which are targeted for new generation of consumers, again, Gen Z, who interact and engage with these brands, with these new brands, in entirely new ways. If you think about how many bought Bored Apes and they put it as a profile picture on Twitter. So these are new generation of consumers, and again, they were engaging with new brands and old brands in a different way. So about Coach, it was very exciting because they're just studying the consumer, but they are trying to embrace these new trends, but remaining authentic, because everything is branded. So actually what Paolo said was really interesting because the B2B solutions are definitely out there, and Gig Labs is another company that is doing that being a white label solution for brands to engage with, to create NFT projects and create NFT experiences. And we have many more examples with the Cavs and their Web3 experience as well, and NFTs.
Cool. I totally agree. I think, I mean, there's a fact, the number of wallets on Ethereum or like in the crypto space is about 200, 300 wallets, and we have a population of about 8 billion people. So we're talking about 0 point something in terms of penetration. And why is that? There may be different reasons. I think what is important, if you want to really, how can I say, make Web3 shared among the masses or like really widespread, is you need to make this super easy to use. And usability has been a huge problem for a lot of time. So there are solutions that are making frictionless onboarding possible. I think that's something which is definitely needed. There's a second point, which is about generation. I think age plays an important role when it comes like to who is more prone to use, like, for example, NFTs and crypto compared to who is not. So I think, you know, the 20-something of today are probably more digitally savvy and native than the 50 and plus, so that's a fact. The third point, I think, is like what could be a game changer is like, you know, for example, big companies, think about Apple or like the smartphone manufacturer, or they basically own like a large part of what we do, of our digital life and so on. So if, for example, Apple were to go and decide to create a wallet for each one of us, I mean, that would be instantly billions of people from one day to another. So there is definitely this opportunity, but it also comes with threats because, you know, we're talking about decentralization and so on. Where is the value here, decentralization, if there is a company that is managing that? Last point I would like to make is instead regarding communities. I think NFTs are an important way of communicating, interacting, and building loyalty. On the other side, I mean, if you forget where people are, what people do, and what people normally spend their time in their life, I mean, they're not here for NFTs, they're not here for technology, and they don't care about you. They care about values, they care about interests, they care about other stuff. So you need to adapt and build a community which is in line with those values and those interests, not around technology. Technology is just coming as an enabler. That's it. So.
And that's why also with coach, because at the end of the day, I mean, I care for the coach bag. I don't really care, but it's a nice, like, fun and gamified experience, which was really interesting. So it's, but that's why like the bridging of the physical and digital world is very interesting as a first step to get into the metaverse.
There's even a word assigned to it now. It's called phygital.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I love all those answers, by the way. The first thing that come to my mind is meet people where they are. You know, bring the technology to the point, like it's easy, like you mentioned, and she made some good points too, you know, meeting people where they are. I want to bring up TikTok. You know, everybody in here have heard of it, most of you. I have to assume the majority of you. There's one interesting thing about TikTok. They are doing this virtual currency to where you can go and buy, you know, you spend real world money, buy the virtual currency, and they've gamified their live sessions where people can do these things called battles, or they can do lives, and you can pay the creators through this virtual currency, and that can be cashed out as cash, or it can be used, you know, to pay other creators. And that is a perfect example of what we're talking about, because even though it's not on the blockchain, I feel like companies are going to do similar things to that, to where, you know, they find a way to get the real world money from you. It turns into their currency. You know, it's no different than NFTs. NFTs is just non-fungible. Currencies is fungible. You know, so that comes to mind. There's this other technology that we personally use. It's called Social Connector, and it's getting more and more known. And what it does is, instead of people having to worry about MetaMask and this and that, it looks to connect like the email to this, to where you can just sign in. You don't have to worry about CollabLand and all this other stuff. and it allows you to really connect what you're doing. So really, if I had to sum it up, I would say meet people where they are. I feel like the space sometimes, a lot of us are guilty of making things too complicated for people instead of just, it's all about languaging. So instead of NFTs, perhaps we can, use a different language or a different word, even though it's the same thing, like membership. Everybody understands subscriptions, memberships, focus on what the perks are that people are gonna get, and most important of all, relationships. So.
So, okay, it seems like NFT technology is here to stay. It seems like it has a huge direct relation with people being together, developing this strong community, and also for brands to actually stay authentic and bring this traditional vision into the digital sphere. I know that we're running out of time, but there is one more question that I need to address. A lot of people who are here today in London, some of those I met before our panel, they're hearing about NFTs, crypto for the first time. Some of them never traded, some of them have zero experience, and even those who are here like through decades, like me, we're still early, we still need to learn. What is the way how we make sure that this education is as efficient, as sustainable as possible? Is it through conferences like NFT NYC? Is it through Twitter Spaces, YouTube, or anything else? Like, what is one thing in education that you believe gonna help those people coming here today to learn more about NFTs in particular? Paolo.
I think it's very hard to answer the question. I mean, what is the silver bullet to make this happen? It's a question mark. I think definitely there are certain applications that of the real use cases. Once you start to see someone using an NFT or a digital twin or whatever it's going to be, and it's the first time that you see, so wow, is that really something that you can do with that technology? Then I'm interested. I was personally coming from the idea that something which is costing zero to produce is coming with a very low value, and therefore is a commodity or is going to be commoditized. One way, for example, to go and disentangle that and really make sure that price and value are different concepts and stay different is, for example, by anchoring the technology to the physical product. So, for example, if you are delivering an extension of a jewel, an extension of an experience, an extension of something which is exclusive, and so on, is therefore technologically enabled, but at the end of the day, you don't care if you call it NFT or whatever, but is really, how can I say, conveying the message that is something unique, is authentic, then that is starting to make people think and then desire, for example, to own that or to share and have part of that experience for them as well. So I think this is seen from the perspective of the brands. I think that's really important, is how you can basically define an experience and a product extension which is leveraging the technology but stays true to your fundamentals.
Exactly. We have 30 more seconds, so I really want Tanuj to answer this one because you've been active on Twitter, you've been active on Discord, you've been trading NFTs for like the whole time I know you. So what's the way how you educate and how you would suggest to other people to learn more about NFTs?
So for NFTs to get mainstream attraction, I feel NFTs have to be utility first, crypto second. So just think of it like this. What if it's a music artist that you like, and you go to a concert and then they give you an NFT of the concert, like a sort of a flyer, right? And then that gives you future value. So the user doesn't know that he's holding an NFT, but it comes with a great value. You're getting a value being offered by the band who are offering you to get a meet or greet with them or a discount on a future concert. That is where I see real value of NFTs being used. And like Paolo said, it's more about experiences and moments. That's what the users need. They need utility in NFTs more than talk about cryptos.
Exactly. Wow, guys, I absolutely enjoyed discussing the topic here today with you. I hope that the audience enjoyed it as much as I did. And I'm extremely happy for the fact that I actually know all of you in person. And it's not like some kind of Q&A, but it's a friendly discussion at the biggest conference. Thank you, NFT NYC, for bringing all of us here today. And we hope that you're gonna enjoy this fest of NFT Web3 here in London. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
go.